But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. It wasn't confrontational at all. He came up to me and said,
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. It is evening, isn't it? This round the world in 5 days is interesting, isn't it? Well, you know, there's that, one of my staff members said, remember the famous song, you know, Good Morning Vietnam? Well, good evening, Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam!
And now I will take your questions. Let me see, they gave me 5 people here. And so really what this trip was about, it was less about containing China. I don't want to contain China. I just want to make sure we have a relationship with China that is on the up and up, squared away. Everybody knows what it's all about. It's not about containing China. It's about having a stable base in Indo-Pacific. And for example, when I was spending a lot of time talking with President Xi, he asked why was I going to have the Quad, meaning Australia, India, Japan, the United States. And I said to maintain stability. It's not about isolating China. I want to see China succeed economically. But as I said, we're not looking to hurt China, sincerely. We're all better off if China does well. China does well by the international rules. Well, I hope I get to see Mr. Xi sooner than later. I've spent more time with him than any other world leader has, some total over the last 12 years. So I hope we get to see him again soon. You know, one of the things we're doing in terms of, I proposed a long time ago at the G7, now it's going to come to fruition at the G20, is making sure that we build a railroad all the way across the African continent. Think about it. There is no way to cross the African continent by road, by rail, and there's not even a direct highway across. Assume there was one country in that vast continent that had an excess of foodstuffs and resources. How would they get it to where they're going to go? How are they going to do it? That's why we're also going to invest billions of dollars in solar facilities in Angola, to have the largest solar facility in the world, or one of the largest. That helps Angola, but also helps the whole region. So I think we think too much in terms of Cold War terms. I started off way back in the 80s with a really fine Republican senator named Dick Lugar. We said, here's what we're going to do. If you owe us money, we're going to forgive your debt if you maintain your forest, because they become carbon sinks. They're the things that take carbon out of the air. And so we're talking about we should be and the countries that cleared their land and put cattle on it and farming and did all the things that increase development. They, in fact, are the main reason why we've gotten as far down the road to disaster here as we have. And so it seems that if we have the economic capacity, those nations, should be getting together and providing help for the nations that don't have the wherewithal to do it. The economic wherewithal and the infrastructure wherewithal. And that's why, for example, I mentioned, in the interest of time, I just mentioned Angola again. Angola has the capacity to generate megawatts of energy through solar energy. They don't have the economic means to do that. Isn't it in the interest of the whole world if they're in fact able to generate significant capacity to absorb, to prevent carbon from being released in the air? I think it is. There is more carbon absorbed from the atmosphere on a daily basis, and I'll look to my friend John Kerry, and forgot more about this than most people know. Correct me if I get this wrong, John, but I'm quite sure I'm right. And that is that there's more carbon absorbed from the air into the Amazon region, into the ground, than admitted in the entire United States on the same basis. And the only existential threat humanity faces, even more frightening than a nuclear war, is global warming going above 1.5 degrees in the next 10 years. That pipeline, or that railroad we're talking about going across from India throughout the Middle East and across the Mediterranean and all through Europe, that's going to have a hydrogen pipeline there. This is going to significantly reduce the amount of carbon emitted in the air, but it costs a lot of money to put that down. I think we can triple the renewable capacity for, as it relates to global warming by the year 2030. Countries following the IRA playbook, which is the one we passed, clean energy jobs are going to create manufacturing jobs. For example, as a consequence of what we've done, we have the strongest economy in the world today. Right now, today, the United States of America has the strongest economy in the world. And one of the reasons we're doing it, we changed the mechanism how we deal with this. And that is, instead of trickle-down economy, that is, if the wealthy and the corporations do very well, everybody's going to do well. Well, the truth of the matter is, I've never bought that theory, but I think the times have changed, and a lot of leading economists are beginning to agree with me. Just flat, straight-out academic economists. And that is, we should build economic growth from the middle out and the bottom up. When that happens, everybody does well. Everybody does well. The wealthy still do very, very well. They have no problem. You can still be a billionaire under that system as well. But you've got to start paying your taxes if I have anything to do with it. That's a different issue. Did you ever think you'd be sitting at a G20 conference where everyone was preoccupied with the notion of global warming? Not a joke. Did you ever think that? And there's my brother loves having, there's famous lines from movies that he always quotes, you know, and one of them is there's a movie about John Wayne. He's an Indian scout, and they're trying to get I think it was the Apache, one of the great tribes of America, back on the reservation, and he's standing with the Union, so they're all on their horses and their saddles, and there's 3 or 4 Indians in headdresses, and the Union soldiers. The Union soldiers basically saying to the Indians, "Come with me, we'll take care of you, everything will be good." And the Indian looks at John Wayne and points to the Union soldier and says, "He's a lion, dog-faced pony soldier." Well, there's a lot of lion, dog-faced pony soldiers out there about global warming, but not anymore. All of a sudden, they're all realizing it's a problem. And there's nothing like seeing the light. Let's see. I'm just following my orders here. Staff, was there anybody haven't spoken? No, I ain't calling on you. I'm calling on, I said I had 5 questions. Anita from VOA.
Thank you, Mr. President. I hope you didn't think that calling only on women would get you softballs tonight.
Oh, I know better than that.
Okay, well, let me start with President Xi.
If you sent me a softball, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'd probably strike out even worse.
Well, let me ask you about, you've spent lots of time talking about all the time you spent with President Xi and the importance of leader-to-leader communication, yet you two haven't spoken in 10 months. And I just wonder, are you worried that this is destabilizing the U.S.-China relationship, and what are you going to do about it? And then, if I may, on Ukraine, sir, Kiev is upset that the G20 communique didn't name Russia as the aggressor. Have you managed to rally more support or sympathy across the G20, or is this emerging as a wedge issue with the Global South, and does that change your commitment to Ukraine?
It's not a wedge issue with the Global South. It's a wedge issue with Russia, which is present, and with China, which is present, has representation. And and by the way, I am, my team, my staff still meets with President Xi's people and his cabinet in effect. I met with his number 2 person here in India today. So it's not like there's a crisis if I don't personally speak to him. It'd be better if I did. But I think, look, this is not a criticism. It's an observation. He has his hands full right now. He has overwhelming unemployment with his youth. One of the major economic tenets of his plan isn't working at all right now. I'm not happy for that, but it's not working. So he's trying to figure out, I suspect, I don't know, just like I would, trying to figure out what to do about the particular crisis they're having now. But I don't think it's a crisis relating to conflict between China and the United States. As a matter of fact, I think it's less likely to cause that kind of conflict. Anyway, I just think that there are other things on leaders' minds, and they respond to what's needed at the time. And look, nobody likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want at the meeting. If you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, we talked about at the conference overall. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the Southern Hemisphere had access to changes, had access. It wasn't confrontational at all. He came up to me and said,
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.